Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is Charan. In this video I will show you how to create a CRUD functionality in web API using LINQ to SQL. And here we got the final output. Right now in this table contains two records. Let's add a new record first. Create new. The employee name is Jack at gmail.com. and the location is Australia. Create. See, here we got the Jack details are inserted successfully. Let's check in the database table. Right now we have two records. Let's execute. See, here we got a new record. The Jack details are inserted successfully. Now let's edit the Jack details. Edit. The email I'm changing to from jack at gmail.com, ja at yahoo.com. Save. So here the Jack email has been changed. Let's check the details. See, here we got the Jack details. Back to list again. Let's check in the database also the Jack email has been changed or not. Right now the Jack email is jack at gmail.com. Now let's execute the query. See, here the Jack email has been changed. Now let's delete this Jack record. Delete. See, the Jack record has been successfully deleted from this table. Now we'll check in the table also. Right now we have Jack details are showing in this new EMP table. Let's execute. Execute. See, the Jack record has been deleted successfully. If you are a first time visitor to my channel, please subscribe to get the latest updates. Before writing the coding part in Web API, first we'll create a new table in SQL Server Management Studio. After I log in my SQL Server, I'm expanding the root folder as well as the databases. And notice the CM folder, which is my user database. I want to create a new table in this database. So select the CM database, right click the mouse, new query. Let's write the query to create a table. Create table. The table name is new EMP is a table name. After that, let's add some columns. EMP ID, integer type, not null. I'm adding primary key, and this column got the identity column, and the second column name is the EMP name and varchar 150 email and varchar 150. And the last one I'm adding the location and varchar 100. Just for the demo purpose, I have added only few columns to this table. Let's execute to create the table. Execute. And here we got a message, command completed successfully. And let's check the table is created or not in this same database. Expand the same database as well as the tables folder. And notice here the new EMP table is created successfully. Let's browse the table, select the table name, right click the mouse, select top 1000 rows. And here we got the results of the newly created table. Right now this table contains 0 rows. Let's add the CRUD functionality on this table in Web API using LINQ to SQL. For this video tutorial, I'm creating a new Web API application. Go to File, New, Project. And from the web templates, I'm selecting ASP.NET Web Application, and the .NET Framework I'm using 4.6.1. And the application name is Web API CRUD LINQ to SQL is my project name. Click OK. And from the templates I'm selecting web API, click OK. And the project is created successfully. Let's close this default window. Open Solution Explorer. First, in this project I am adding the LINQ to SQL class. Right click the project name, add. I'm selecting LINQ to SQL class. The item name, I'm not changing the item name, I'm leaving the default one only. If you want, you can change. Click OK. And here we got the LINQ to SQL class is added to our project. After that, we'll add the data source to our project. For that, open Server Explorer. Right click, select the data connections, right click the mouse, add connection. Let's add the SQL server name. After adding SQL server name, now I'm selecting the database name, CM database, test connection is succeeded. OK. And here we got our data connection is added to our project. Let's expand the selected database DBO, and if you notice, here we got the objects of this selected CM database. I'm expanding the tables folder. Our table name is the new EMP. Just select that one, drag and drop on the .dml page, which is a LINQ to SQL class. Now the next step, open Solution Explorer, minimize the references folder. Let's add a new class in this models folder. Select the models folder, right click the mouse, add. I'm selecting class, and the class name is EMP class. Add. And here we got our EMP class also. Now in this class I'm just defining the public properties. Public int EMP ID, get set, public string EMP name, get set, public string email, get set, and the last property is the location, public string location, get set. So after adding the properties to the class, the next, open Solution Explorer. Let's add a new web API controller to this controllers folder. Select the controllers folder, right click the mouse, add controller. I'm selecting the web API 2 controller empty, add. The controller name is EMP CRUD. Is my web API controller name. Click add. And here we got our API controller. Now in this controller, first I'm adding the namespace using web API is a project name .models folder. After that, in this API controller I'm adding iHTTP action result, public iHTTP action result. The first method I'm creating to get all the records. So I'm adding get EMP records. Now in this function I'm adding the LINQ to SQL class name, which is a data class 1 data context. DC is an object, new data class 1 dot data context. After that, declaring a variable EMP records is a variable DC dot, and our table name is a new EMPs dot toList method. Return OK. In this return OK method, I'm adding the variable EMP record. That's it. We have written the code to fetch the records from this new EMPs table. Now before adding the MVC controller to our project, first we require this web API URL. For that, Google Chrome. And here we got the default output of the project, which is the home page. Now we require the web API URL after the domain name localhost / API / our web API controller name is EMP CRUD. Just copy that controller name and paste in the URL. And here we got the results of this web API URL. It's showing some empty data because if we check in our database table, this table contains 0 rows right now. What we'll do is we'll add some data to this table. Select the table name, right click the mouse, edit top 200 rows. Let's enter a new record into this table. The EMP ID column is the auto-generate column, so I'm not adding any values. The EMP name charan@gmail.com, and the location is India. We have just added one record into this table. Now let's refresh the browser. And see, here we got new results after adding the new record Charan to the table. Now let's consume this web API in MVC. Stop debugging. Open Solution Explorer. In the same controllers folder, I am adding a new controller. I click the controllers folder, add controller. Now this time I am selecting MVC5 controller empty, add. The controller name is EMP employee controller name, add. And here we got our controller also. Now first in this controller I am adding the namespace using web API the project name .models folder. Now after that I am implementing HTTP client class to consume the web API. So for that I am adding another namespace using system.net.http namespace. Then in the action result index I am adding IEnumerable. In this IEnumerable, the out_t type we are getting from the table, the records we are getting from the table, which is a new EMP. Let's create an object. EMP object is equals to null. Then HTTP client class HC is equals to new HTTP client HC.base address. The base address is equals to new URI. This URI method takes a string parameter, so between double quotes I am adding our web API URL address, which is this one. Copy this one, paste here. After we got the base address, the next create a variable consume API get async method, and get async method I'm adding the controller web API controller name, which is a EMP code, this one. Then consume API dot wait method. Once we consume the API, we read the data. Variable read data is equals to consume API dot a result property. If read data dot is success status code, once the data found, I want to display the records. Variable display data is equals to read data dot content dot read as async. The type of object to read iList. In this iList, the elements we are getting from the table new EMP. I'm adding the table name, semicolon. Then display data dot wait method. The final step, I want to display in this IEnumerable object is equals to em display object display data dot result property, and the final step I'm adding this object name in the return view. That's it. We have consumed the web API into this MVC controller. Now before adding the index view page to our project, first we must build our application. Build solution. And the project built successfully. Let's close this output message box. Select the action result index method, right click the mouse, add view. The view name is index only. In the template I'm selecting the list template, and the model class I'm adding our table name new EMP, and I'm not adding any data context class here. Click add. And here we got our index view page. Now let's check the output. The records are displaying or not in this index view page. But before run this application, the most important, we have to change the controller name. So to change the controller name, open Solution Explorer. In the project there is a app_start folder, expand that one, and notice the route config.cs file, open that one. The controller is the home, which is a default one. I'm deleting that one. Our controller name is, I'm adding the MVC controller name, which is the employee. Copy that one, I'm pasting here in the controller place. And the action result is the index page, which is this one, index view page. Now let's check the output, Google Chrome. And here we got the output of the index view page, and notice the challenge details are displaying. And also notice we got the links, action result pages, create new, edit, details, and delete. Now my next step is, let's get the details of a selected employee. Switch to the Visual Studio, stop debugging. Let's open Web API controller. Let's add a new HTTP action result, get EMP records. To get a particular employee record, we require the employee ID. For that I'm declaring a variable int ID. Now here we require the data context class here also. So what I'm doing, instead of writing here, let's copy this part, I'm adding at the top. So I don't require to add this line again and again in every action result. Variable display EMP data is equals to, let's write the link to SQL query from x in dc dot new EMPs, where x dot EMP ID double equals to ID dot ID, and select x, this object dot first or default method, return OK method, display EMP data. That's it. I have written a small query to fetch a selected employee record. Now let's call this web API in MVC. Open MVC file controller. Let's add a new action result, public action action result, details is the action name. I'm adding the variable int ID. We require a particular employee ID, so for that I'm adding the EMP class. This class name emp object is equals to null http client class is equals to new http client base address is equals to new URI method. Between double quotes I'm adding the web API URL, which is this one. Copy this one and paste here. Variable consume API is equals to get async method. Now in this get async method takes a string parameter. I'm adding this web API controller name / id is equals to plus id dot toString method. Now here I don't require this one. Semicolon consume API dot wait method. Once we consume, we want to read that particular selected employee data. For that I'm declaring another variable read data is equals to consume API dot result property. If read data dot is success status code, declare a variable display data is equals to read data dot content dot read as async. Read as async I'm adding our class name emp class object display data dot wait method. Then let's add this object is equals to display data dot result property. Then return OK method return view. In the return view I'm adding emp object. That's it. We have consumed the web API to fetch the particular selected employee details. So now we require the details view page. So before adding the view page to the project, first we must build the application. Build solution. And the project builds successfully. Now let's select the action result details method, right click the mouse, add view. The view name is details only. The template I'm selecting the details template. After that the model class I'm adding the class name which is the emp class. That's it. I'm not adding any data context class. Click add. And here we got our details view page also. Now let's check the results on the browser, index.cshtml, Google Chrome. And here we got a new output after we adding the details functionality. Let's select the churn details. So here we got the details of the churn back to list. Now the next step will add new records with create new page. So I can switch back to the coding part, stop debugging, switch to the web API controller. Let's add the public HTTP action result. Insert EMP. And when we are inserting records, we have to add the HTTP post method. Let's add the table name, new EMP, NE is the object DC. This object name data context object name dot new EMPs dot insert and submit. I'm adding NE. After that DC dot. Once we insert the data, then we have to save the data. So submit changes method. return OK. That's it. We have added the functionality to insert the records in this web API. Now let's call this web API in MVC public action result create method. I'm adding two create methods. One is for HTTP get and second one is for the post. In the get method, I'm adding simply return view method. Let's copy this one again, and this time I'm adding the HTTP post. In the create, I'm adding the class name emp class EC. Now let's add the coding part. HTTP client H is equals to new HTTP client. Base address is equals to new URI method. This URI method takes a string. Let's add the web API URL. Copy this one, paste here. After that, we'll variable insert data is equals to etc dot post as JSON async. The T type I'm adding emp class, and the method takes the first one request URI, which is the emp CRUD, the web API URL name, then the value we are getting from this EC. Insert data dot wait method. After that, variable insert save data is equals to insert data dot result property. Then if save data dot is success status score, once a record is saved successfully, I want to redirect to index view page. For that, I'm adding return redirect to action method. The action method takes the parameter string action name. The action name is the index view page, which is this one. Once the record is inserted successfully, I want to redirect to the index view page. Then in the return view, here add the semicolon. In the return view, between double quotes, I'm adding create. That's it. We have consumed the web API to insert new records into a table using LINQ to SQL. Now we require the view page of this create action result method. So as I told, before adding the view page to a new action result, first we must build the application. Build solution, and the project builds successfully. Let's close this output message box. Now let's create a view page. Select the create method, right click the mouse, add view. The view name is create. The template, I'm selecting the create template, which is to insert a new records, and the model class, I'm adding the class name, which is the emp class. I'm not adding any data context class. Add. And here we got our create view page also. Now in this create view page, notice the emp ID is also added, because in our emp class we have added emp ID property. So what I'm doing, I don't require this step, just commenting this part. So in create view page, I want to display only emp name, email and location. I want to display only these three columns, emp name, email and location. The emp ID column is an auto generate column. So now check the results. Index.cshtml, Google Chrome. Now let's insert new record. Create new. The employee name I'm adding Ben. Email is ben@gmail.com and the location is USA. Create. And see here the Ben record has been successfully saved into our table. Now let's check in the database table. I'm executing the table. See here we got a new results with Ben employee record has saved successfully. Up to now we have just finished to create a new records and details. Let's select the details to get the Ben details. Back to list. Now the leftover is edit and delete. Now the leftover is the edit and delete operations. So I'm going to switch back to the coding part, stop debugging. Now switch to the web API. Let's add the put method to update the records. Public HTTP action result. I'm adding put method. Now in this put method I'm adding emp class EC. Then write the query to update the record variable update emp is equals to the link to SQL query from x in dc dot new emp is where x dot emp id double equals to ec dot emp id select x dot first or default method. Then update emp dot emp id is equals to ec dot emp id semicolon update emp dot emp name is equals to ec dot emp name semicolon update emp dot email is equals to ec dot email, and the last one update emp dot location is equals to ec dot location. The dc dot submit changes method. What I'm doing, I'm putting this in the if condition. If update emp is not equals to null, which means we are updating the record, else the else part, if the record is not updated successfully, I want to display the error message written not found method. And the final step, return OK method. That's it, we have written the code to update the selected employee details. Now let's consume this put method in this MVC. We require two edit methods, one for to select the particular employee, after that we'll update that employee details. So here public action result edit method return view method, and this method is the HTTP get method. So int id, first we fetch the selected employee details. So instead of writing the same code, I am adding this details part. Copy this one, paste here. Then the second action result, public action result edit method, and this is the, and this method is the HTTP post. In the edit I am adding our class name emp class is an object. So here, instead of writing to update the code, I'm adding this part in the create function. Just I'm changing, instead of post as JSON, I'm adding exit.put as JSON async. And in the return view, it's not create, I'm adding this object EC. That's it. I have written the code to edit the update details. Now we require the view page of this edit action result. Again, build the solution before adding the view page. And the project builds successfully. Let's close this output message box. Select the edit action result method and right click the mouse, add view. The view name is edit the template. I'm selecting the edit template. The model class, our model class name is the EMP class. Let's select that EMP class. Data context class, I'm not selecting any data context class here. Just click add. And here we got our edit view page also. Now let's check the results. Index.cshtml, Google Chrome. And here we got the new output after we adding the edit functionality. Now let's edit the Ben details edit. The employee ID Ben is 2. I'm updating the employee name of the Ben White. And the location also I'm changing, instead of USA I'm adding London. Save. And here we got the new updated record is added successfully. Before it was Ben, now Ben White, and also the location, before it was USA, now it's London. Now the final step is delete. Let's switch back to the coding part. Stop debugging. EMP CRUD Web API. Public HTTP action result. Delete method. In the delete method I'm adding int id variable delete emp is equals to, let's write the query to delete the record from x in dc dot, the table name is a new emps where x dot emp id double equals to id dot id, select x dot to dot first or default method. So once we got the selected employee record, now I'm applying the delete functionality here. dc dot new emps dot delete on submit. I'm adding delete emp, then save submit changes method, return okay method. That's it. Now let's consume this action result in this MVC controller. Come to the bottom, public action result, delete int id. Now here the code is, let's go to the top, the index view page to display the records. So just copy this part, I'm pasting here in the delete functionality. I don't require this enumerable here. Instead of get async method, I'm adding exit dot delete async delete async method string URI is emp CRUD semicolon / plus editor to string method. Then delete record. If delete record is success status code, so I don't require this one here. Once the record has been deleted successfully, I want to return redirect to action method. The action name is the index page, and the return view also index. That's it. We have consumed the web API to delete a particular employee record from the table using web API in LINQ to SQL. I'm not adding any action result view page for this delete. So let's check the output. Index.cshtml, Google Chrome. And here we got the final output. Right now in this table contains 2 records. Let's add a new record first. Create new. The employee name is Jack at gmail.com, and the location is Australia. Create. See, here we got the Jack details are inserted successfully. Let's check in the database table. Right now we have 2 records. Let's execute. See, here we got a new record. The Jack details are inserted successfully. Now let's edit the Jack details. Edit. The email I'm changing to from jack at gmail.com, ja at yahoo.com. Save. So here the Jack email has been changed. Let's check the details. So here we got the Jack details. Back to list again. Let's check in the database also the Jack email has been changed or not. Right now the Jack email is jack at gmail.com. Now let's execute the query. So here the Jack email has been changed. Now let's delete this Jack record. Delete. See, the Jack record has been successfully deleted from this table. Now we'll check in the table also. Right now we have Jack details are showing in this new EMP table. Let's execute. See, the Jack record has been deleted successfully. That's it. We have implemented the CRUD functionality in web API using LINQ to SQL in MVC.